Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, cause here we go. Straight out of Phoenix, this is Back Radio. Back Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Back Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is Back Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Back Radio. Get ready, cause here we go. This is Back Radio.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today is Thursday. Can you believe it's already December 6th, 2018. The time is about 7:34 here in Phoenix, Arizona. The new intro you heard is provided by my main man, Jonathan. That animated intro is to celebrate the fact that we have now hit 10,000 subscribers. Very, very exciting. I hope you appreciate it. Now on today's show, we are going to be getting into something that I did not plan. Originally, I planned to do a miniature Bible study with you guys on 1 John. But then, while I was on the internet, I saw some videos that disturbed me. I'll just put it that way. And I said, you know what? We need to do a program on this right away because this just came out. Lord Jamar, he's a hip-hop artist, and Godfrey, he's a comedian on Vlad TV, and they brought up John Chau, the slain missionary, whom I've already covered in a video that I said, stop criticizing him. Well, apparently they didn't get the message. And so today what we're going to do is play clips from this interview where they have really what can only be described as a laugh fest, right? A big kind of mockery session at the expense of John Allen. Alright, I see some of you guys are saying my mic's too low. I'll turn it up right now. Tell me about like right there. And so what we're going to do is get into that today. And I'm very excited about this program. This will be the first program that we've done since we've hit 10,000 subscribers here on Backpack Radio Live. Alright, what about now, guys? How's the sound now? I've turned it down a little bit. Hopefully that works. Got about as low as I can. I see your comments though, and I see the mod squad is in the house. Shout out to all you guys who made the 10,000 subscriber thing happen. Rox B, Michelle Marie, who else we got up in here? D New. I don't see Warrior Woman yet, but all of you guys are the ones who made it happen. So these kinds of shows are a little bit different. Again, I'm still going to get to that 1 John Bible study, but I have got to cover this. And so I think you're going to be enlightened by this, but honestly, I think a lot of you will also probably be frustrated as well. But nonetheless, I think it's important to cover. Did I fix the sound there? Okay, I'm looking through the comments here real quick. All right. Okay, yes, you're right, Rox B. Please grab this link right now, everybody, and share it. Oh, there is Warrior Woman. Awesome. Grab this link. What's up, Caramel Crunk? Grab this link and share it, and be sure to give it a like. Do that right now. I need you guys to do that right now if you could. Grab this link, share it, and make sure people come on in. Oh, boy. It's all kinds of stuff's happening here. Don't worry, I'll fix it, guys. I'll fix it. It went a little dark. That's not really the look I'm going for, but it kind of just happened. Oh boy. Okay. I'm messing with some new stuff, as you could tell, but we'll get to it and we'll get it fixed. All right. So let's just start this. Let's just play this first clip. Warning today, everyone. There is going to be some swearing, not on my end, but the guys in the interview, they do swear, and so just be aware of that. Nothing sexual or violent or anything like that per se, but there will be some language, so be aware of that. Well, I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to try to work out some of these kinks as we go. Let's play the first clip. This is from Vlad TV. He interviews hip-hop artists mainly, but he also interviews other folks sometimes too, and out of nowhere, the guy known as Lord Jamar brought up John Chau, the slain missionary, who was killed by arrows off the coast of India. This caused a lot of controversy. He's received a lot of criticism for it. That's in the news. Check that out. But I want to respond to their reaction in this video that just came out yesterday. Here's the first clip, everyone.
Another thing that white people are still doing, but the shit just went awry. Trying to spread Christianity. Wait.
All right, so I'm just stopping right there. So Lord Jamar is the one who said that. He said, another thing the white people are still doing, but it went awry. He's referring to John's death, trying to spread Christianity. Few things, Lord Jamar. Christianity is moving away from what it's been in the modern era, which is sort of a domination in a certain way by people of European descent, in the sense of sort of who people see visibly, That's really no longer the case more and more. Asia, South America, and Africa are the three new epicenters of Christianity, and you may even consider India. Certain parts of India seem to be in the running as well. And so it's a silly thing. It shows a lot of ignorance, to be frank, specifically when you get to John. He was, half Asian, half white for what it's worth, but you just refer to him a certain way. But notice how they start laughing, and watch what they're going to start laughing about now. This is disturbing, but listen to this.
To the black man that don't want it. Shrek. I want to bring you Jesus.
All right, so funny stuff, right? Imitating bows and arrows, getting hit with it. I just, help me out, Godfrey. How is that comedy? What's funny about the missionary going down there and being murdered? You may think he shouldn't have went down there, Godfrey, but do you, in your moral playbook, or your moral rule book, do you have it that trespassers, if that's what we're going to call them, trespassers should be shot? Do you think does trespassing deserve capital punishment? Or does going into borders where you're not supposedly wanted, should we do that, United States on the southern border, northern border, just kill everybody? See, what's funny about this is what I'm saying. Obviously, we shouldn't do those things, meaning if you want to consider a crime by their law, where is their law? It's not codified anywhere, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to say it's a crime by their law or perhaps Indian law, which is somewhat debatable, what's funny about it? Even if he did deserve death, I still don't understand what's funny about it. How is this joke fodder? Or would we just do anything for a laugh? Now listen to this next comment by Godfrey the comedian.
You know what's great? We reported on this story. So essentially...
You hear Vlad? So Vlad is a Russian smart... he's of Russian descent. He was a DJ for a while. He's real smart in computers. He has one of the biggest kind of gossip news channels in the hip-hop world. And he clearly has an anti-Christian bias. And we just got to expect this. You know what I'm saying? It's 2018. People, that's how they feel, okay? But he's laughing too, and he says, you know what's great? Do you see? There's a total difference in worldview for these folks to think this is hilarious and that it could be considered great. Listen to this.
A protected island of like 50 tribesmen.
The Andaman Island in
That have been
Nicobar.
there for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's off of India.
Yeah, off of
Okay.
India.
Yeah.
Thousands of years.
You're not
The
allowed to
Sentinel
enter.
Islands. You're not. It's illegal to
It's
go
illegal.
there.
Illegal.
First of all, these people have.
All right, so that's actually somewhat debatable. So I'm actually going to go right to my notes right away and go here. I'm going to show you guys something. Let me bring myself up here on the screen. I see somebody asking, who are these Godfrey and Lord Jamar guys? Lord Jamar was a somewhat well-known New York kind of East Coast rapper in the 90s, mainly the early 90s, with a group called Brand Nubian. And he always touted his 5% nation status and whatnot, which is a cult, of course. And Godfrey is a comedian. Now, both of them have a certain level of social media capital because they're popular recurring guests on Vlad TV's platform, which he has over 1 million subscribers because he does really solid interviews with people that, people sort of a hip-hop background are interested in. And he does a good job and gets them to really say things in a very frank manner. And one of the most popular people on there is Lord Jamar. His hip-hop career is no longer anything much to speak of, although he still makes music. I'm not dissing or anything like that. It ain't about that. But he's got a second life in his media career. Now he does a show called The Godcast instead of podcast, which I'm actually going to show clips from later. And so that's who they are. But let me go back here to what I was getting on about, was it really legal? Yeah, here we go. This is actually from a great article on Charisma News. In the 1990s, after tourism to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands increased, the Indian government imposed travel restrictions, which required visitors to obtain permits. In August 2018, the Indian government lifted the restricted area permits, called RAP, to foreigners on 29 islands in Andaman, including North Sentinel Island. According to the India Times, lifting of RAP means that now people from other countries can also visit North Sentinel Island without any permit. The article also states that to visit reserved forests, wildlife sanctuaries, and tribal reserves, separate approval is still required. Now, that article can actually be found on the Times of India. Look up this article. No more restricted area permit for foreigners visiting 29 Andaman Islands. It actually mentions the North Sentinel Islands as one of them. So it's questionable about some of the illegal claims. I'm not real sure because I found conflicting information. New Delhi TV reports that RAP for North Sentinel and 28 other islands was lifted or remains lifted until December 31st, 2022. The lifting of the RAP means foreigners can go to the island without permission from the government, end quote. And that's from NDTV, and the title of that article is Foreigners Can Now Travel to Andaman and Nicobar Islands Unrestricted. So there's a little bit of misinformation concerning this, and I'm not 100% it was legal, but let me ask both of you guys, does something being legal or illegal make it moral or immoral? Does it? To use, there's so many examples, right? In some countries, it's legal, permitted by the government, to beat your wife. It's considered your business. Do you think that's a moral law? In some countries, if you steal something from a rich person, the penalty is greater than if you steal something from a poor person. Do you think that's fair? Is that equitable? Is that a good law? So you're making this emphasis about, well, it was illegal, which is debatable, first of all. But second of all, what's that to do with the morality of it? Let me ask both of you guys again. If there is a God, and no, Lord Jamar, he's not you. That's right, Lord Jamar believes that the black man is God, so there's actually multiple gods in his schema, and he's one of them. That's why he calls the show the Godcast. But if there is a one true God, which there most certainly is, and I believe you know this, and he commands you to make his name great among the nations and the peoples of the earth, is it right or wrong to go to those peoples and speak about who he is to them? You see, we got to put everything in a moral context. Now, let me go back here to the next one and finish that clip here.
You know what's great? We reported on this story. So essentially, this is a protected island of like 50 tribesmen.
The Andaman Island
That
in
have been
Nicobar.
there for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's off of India.
Yeah, off
Okay.
of India.
Yeah.
Thousands of years.
You're not
The
allowed to
Sentinel
enter.
Islands. You're not. It's illegal to
It's
go
illegal.
there.
Illegal.
First of all, these people they're not immune to the certain diseases that exist in the outside
right.
world. So that's part of why you're not even supposed to come in contact with these
them.
motherfuckers.
That's right.
All right. I see Julian West says, I never thought I'd hear that. A great article from Charisma News. The reason why it's good is because mainly the person who wrote it, Julian West, I saw your comment and I understand exactly what you're saying. But see, John Allen was a lone ranger at the end in this situation. You know what I'm saying? He went out there by himself. But he had worked with many mission agencies prior to this. And no one would go with him at the end, although people did help him and he knew the risks. And my point by saying that is that there's a woman named Mary Ho. And again, these are not white people. What ethnic background do you think a woman named Mary Ho? What do you think she is? I guess it's probably a similar extraction as John Chau. Notice that. You guys are critiquing something based on a false premise. And she is the international executive leader at All Nations, and she's the one who wrote an article in Christianity Today, and I think she was quoted in the Charisma News one as well. I forget the author off the top of my head, but you can find it pretty easily. It's a great article. Like I said, so there's a lot of good information out here, but people aren't doing all the due diligence. Oh, okay, the article in Charisma News is called "The Truth About John Allen Chau and the Sentinelese People," and I'll get more into that one later. So Mary Ho, listen to what she says here about John. Since he was about 18 years old, I believe, he took a mission trip, and on that mission trip, he really felt a call to be a missionary. Around that same time, he started researching all the different people groups, and he came across the North Sentinelese people. So this is a young man, and by the way, I found a video clip of him preaching on the Great Commission, which I'm going to show you when he was only a freshman in college during this broadcast. I'm going to show you, and you're going to hear his heart directly. Here's what he says. This is a quote from Mary Ho about John Chau. He really felt that, quote, his life's call was to take the love and goodness of Jesus Christ to the North Sentinelese, said Ho. Since then, every decision he has made has been to prepare himself for his life's call. My mustache itches me sometimes. He didn't go down there willy-nilly. He had heard about these folks, and he had had this desire ever since he was a teenager. This is not some selfish thing. This is like the burning call of God that happens in a young man's heart at a young age. And he did multiple steps to try to prepare to make sure that it could happen, which I'm going to get into in a second here. I want to show you this because people are going to mention it again and again, like about, well, he wasn't prepared enough. One thing is that he had already visited the Andaman Islands in 2015 and 2016, so he had already been down there. This was not willy-nilly. And he went extensive training with All Nations, which is the organization that I quoted earlier, Mary Ho. And, listen to this, he was overqualified as a missionary. He was a skilled wilderness guide. He led a bunch of people on hiking and camping adventures throughout the Pacific Northwest where he's from. He was trained as an EMT. So part of what he wanted to do was to live among these people. This was his goal was to live among the people himself. And part of what he was going to do was provide them, it appears, with medical care. He was a survivalist and a mountain climber. Imagine the help this man could have been to these folks. He had a great deal of experience in extreme climates as well. He was a certified scuba diver and even coached soccer. He could talk about play soccer too. This is extensive. And I'm going to show you another article because people say, oh, well, what if he was going to kill him? Because, the diseases and stuff. Well, the Washington Post reported Tuesday night that Chau also undertook linguistics, so he tried to study surrounding languages. No one really knows their languages, and medical training to prepare for the outreach. These new reports challenge, the current picture. And listen to this: he was heavily vaccinated and was even quarantined before going on his mission. This is from an article that quotes a Christianity Today article from the Washington Post, which is titled, John Chau Prepared Much More Than We Thought. Now, I'm just putting that all out there because we play stuff like this. It's bothersome because people have a narrative. Listen, though, here to this next clip. This is going to show you the worldview that Lord Jamar comes from. He's what's called a 5%er. Now, I've interviewed Nation of Islam ex-members, Damon Richardson specifically, but I've never interviewed a 5%er ex-member, although I do have an interview with a Christian hip-hop artist whose brother went into the 5% Nation, and I may play that someday. But listen to his background, because the 5% Nation, it's called the Nations of the Gods and Earths, is polytheistic. It's man-centered. It turns man into God, and it's also bigoted. And you'll hear that come out in this clip. Listen to this.
But this motherfucker got the full energy of the white man.
He's John Chau.
The full energy of the white man. What does that even mean, Lord Jamar? And again, notice this is a big yuck it up fest, right? This is funny stuff, apparently. What does that mean, the full energy of the white man? Now, I know what he's trying to say, but what a ridiculous thing to say. Maybe what it was is the spirit, and that's just your bigoted way of looking at it.
And wanted to go and bring these people that he thought were probably savage.
Where did John Chau ever say they were savage? Where did he ever say that? He never said that. He never said they were uncivilized. Why are you saying that? Why are you putting sort of racist assumptions into his mouth? Can't you have any respect for a dead man? You know? At least get him right. Just because you're bigoted doesn't mean everybody else is bigoted, Lord Jamar.
In need of spiritual guidance.
And brain.
Now, that's true. Lord Jamar, you believe you're 5% of the world's population. That's why they're called 5%ers, everybody. Meaning everybody else, 85% of the population, according to his theology, is deaf, dumb, and blind. They're called the 85ers. That would be the masses, basically. That's what Lord Jamar believes. He's the 5%, the enlightened 5% who have true knowledge of self. That's what he believes in his theology. Now, if you notice, I only had 85 and 5%. What about the other group of people, the 10%? Those are people who know the truth, but basically hide it or don't want to do it. So he believes 95% of the world is in need of spiritual guidance. And that's why they have these 120 lessons. They have 120 lessons that they drop according to principles of supreme mathematics. So what are you talking about? You would think they need spiritual guidance too, according to your own twisted religion. And that's why you give lessons on your Godcast, so-called. The hypocrisy of Lord Jamar here, it's kind of gross, to be honest.
Asian guy. Alan,
I thought he was half white.
Mixed. John Chau.
So at least Vlad's trying to correct him. Well, he's an Asian guy. Godfrey's like, well, he's mixed. But listen to Lord Jamar's response.
He looks like a white Asian guy.
Yeah, he's half white.
Yeah, he's not full Asian.
But so you know he accepted him being white because half Asians think they're white.
Wow. You know he accepted him being white because half Asians think they're white. What? Is it cool for you just to whoosh, just go ahead and make this blanket statement about all Asians? What is this? And yet, this video only came out yesterday. It's got a grip of views. People are watching this, and the comments are just people laughing along, a bunch of LOLs and happy faces.
Mentality was definitely white.
His mentality was white. What a silly thing to say. Do Slavs have the same mentality as English? And do the English have the same mentality as Irish? Do the Irish have the same... You see, we can... But this is the way these guys think. This simplistic view of the world that really comes out of a Jim Crow mindset. This is how Jim Crow proponents thought. Not people who were supposed to be woke.
As far as, listen, I'm going to take my white ass over there. Let's do...
Again, so now he's white. What is this? Just no respect.
I'm going to bring them some shit that they don't really need, and they're going to fucking...
Wait, he just said some stuff they don't really need. First of all, you even think they need spiritual guidance according to your own religion. Second of all, it's clear they do because their morality is such that they literally murder people for trespassing in their view, coming onto their land. They kill people for that. Like, so there's something askew with their moral system. And guess what else they need? They need healthcare. In John Allen Chau's diary, you know something he said? He said, I only noticed younger people and middle-aged people. He said, I didn't see any old people. He said, I wonder where they are. It's highly likely, and sociologists have pondered this, is it possible the mortality rate on this island is extremely high? There's only 50 to 100 of these folks on this island. They're not really doing so well. They do need something. Most of all, the gospel of Jesus Christ, but they could have used his help, and he had the skills to help. But what do you know? What are you doing? Have you ever, would you do something bold and courageous like John Chau for 5% nation? Would you? Nah, you just jump on the internet.
I'm going to come into their house, basically,
Fuck yeah.
and tell them what they should fuck with.
That's right.
Yeah, it's real funny stuff. I'm pretty sure Vlad TV is going to try to get a copyright strike on this because every time someone interacts with one of his videos, that's what he does. So be prepared for that, guys. Listen to this, guys. Next clip.
Well, guess what they did?
This is funny, right? He's going to say they killed him, and they're laughing it up.
Killed him. Wait, now let me just give you some historical context.
Right, and I just want to make the note that recently there's a new story where I guess the government tried to retrieve the body.
Yeah.
And they were attacked.
Listen,
they couldn't get close
you
enough.
too, motherfucker. When there was a tsunami.
So now Godfrey apparently is even making fun of the Islanders. It's I mean, with the sounds and stuff. Anything for a laugh, I suppose. Anything for a laugh. So you guys are like, who are these guys? I'm not trying to be... Some of you guys don't understand. There's whole other realms of social media. You know, things are really fragmented. These two guys are important because they've become they become regulars on Vlad TV. Vlad TV is massive for youth and urban culture. Massive influence. So anyone on there has a big platform right away, right? He likes to promote anti-Christian bigotry frequently. This is an example of it. Thank you, D. New. I think you're the first super chat of the evening. Thank you, D. New, for the super chat. It helps. So this is a former rapper. He still raps, Lord Jamar, and he's a big guest. He does his own podcast. And Godfrey, who's a comedian. So these guys may not be necessarily in your realms, but these are influencers. And this video already has a grip of reviews, and it only came out yesterday.
They just went by and tried to check on these motherfuckers like in a plane or a helicopter. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. We good. So anyway,
what he's talking about there is after the tsunami and all that, the Indian government sent some helicopters to check on the folks on the island. You know, they wanted to see if they're okay. And what did the islanders do? They shot a slew of arrows at the choppers. That's what they did. Like, this is not a good moral system. These folks go after people trying to help them. It's not about civilized or uncivilized. It's not about any of that. It is about their values and morals. And what happens is, if you don't have the right standard, then your moral judgments are askew after that. By the way, we've got almost 100 people watching, but only a few likes. You guys that are watching, please hit that thumbs up button. It's going to help. Leave a comment, hit that thumbs up button, please. Grab this link and share it. I've got some pretty bogus clips coming up here you don't want to miss. Shout out to you, Lily R. in Brooklyn. Shout out to you, Lily R. in Brooklyn, holding it down for the super chat as well. All right, here's the next clip here. And in this one, they're going to talk about the family of John Allen Chau. Now, it's unclear if they're Christian or not, but nonetheless, they wrote a letter saying, hey, forgive these islanders. John knew what he was doing, and please don't persecute the fishermen, because John bribed fishermen to get him to the island, and they're going to say, please don't persecute them. But listen to these guys' reaction and how quick they are to misunderstand. Listen to this.
But they warned him twice.
They arrowed his ass up.
He had to smuggle his way in. He had to bribe fishermen.
And the fisherman was like, yeah, go on over there. They gonna really enjoy your ass. $350, but shit, goddamn.
And he said, can I pay you? Can I get back? No. You better pay us now.
So here, Lord Jamar and Godfrey are literally just making up dialogue about what happened, all for a laugh, I guess. And this is sort of just untrue on the face of it. John Allen Chau wrote in his diary, I do not want to die. But he seemed to indicate in his diary that he didn't want to die. He was hoping he didn't die, but he kind of knew that he might die. You could tell from the journal entries that he thought he might die, you know? So that's why he gave his journal to the fisherman who returned it to the authorities. That's my understanding of the way it went down. He knew he might not make it back. But these guys think it's funny to just make up dialogue, you know, and Lord Jamar, your impersonation of a half Asian, half white guy is not very good.
Entry fee.
The family.
No, because you're not coming back, motherfucker. I need my money back.
Ain't no back in on this. Well, the family of the guy who got killed is saying that, we forgive the tribe as to what happened.
No choice, motherfucker. You got no choice.
We forgive them.
They're also saying not to prosecute the people that helped him.
You ain't gonna get to him.
No. I mean, like, no, the guys that helped him, smuggle his way on there, they're all in trouble and in prison right now.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
And they're saying, please forgive them and let him go. It was his own choice.
It was.
No, he didn't. Nobody forced him to go over there.
But they said.
All right, so the family is being forgiving there, and they're like, "Oh, you got no choice." I don't think they understood what was being said. This video that I'm quoting from, well, hold on. You know what? Someone's asking about the links. No, I'm not going to post all the links to this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you guys to find them based upon the titles here. So if someone could find this one and drop it in the live chat, I'd appreciate that. Here's the first one. It's in the Washington Post. Just Google Washington Post and then Google this. Slain missionary John Chau prepared much more than we thought. Slain missionary John Chau prepared much more than we thought. That's in the Washington Post. That's one I've quoted. Also, someone else get this one. Christianity Today. Then the way to find this one is All Nations, John Allen Chau, North Sentinel Island. All Nations, John Allen Chau, North Sentinel Island. Another one that I've quoted from is abcnews.com. abcnews.com. And the way you find that one is John Allen Chau, Detailed Efforts, Convert Islanders Christianity. That's how you're going to find it. John Allen Chau, Detailed Efforts, Convert Islanders Christianity. And there's a couple more that I'll give when I get into this. Let me see here. New York Times, Andaman missionary John Chau. New York Times, Andaman missionary John Chau. These are my sources. But let me read something while I'm at it from the New York Times, one of the first articles to appear, which is a very excellent article, by the way. Here's what it says. This is powerful. Wow. So, first time he tried to go make contact on the island, a little boy shot an arrow at him. So you got the boys trying to kill people, right? That's how they're being trained. It goes and it gets stuck in his waterproof Bible. His waterproof Bible. And listen to this. I'm going to quote now from the New York Times article since I turned to it. I remember I wanted to read this. Over the next 2 days, Mr. Chau paddled back and forth in his kayak between the fishing boat and the island, unsure what to do. At times personal and open, at other times colder and more scientific, his long letter is filled with cultural observations, directions, distances, raw feelings and details from his exercise regimen. 3 sets of 20 push-ups, 50 leg tucks, 20 wide push-ups, 20 squats. This dude is a beast. This dude is amazing all around. 26 years old. What an inspiration. The fisherman said he had told them to give the letter to a friend in case he did not come back. In one passage, he asked God if North Sentinel was, quote, Satan's last stronghold. Do you see that? He's thinking like a missionary. He's thinking like someone who loves Jesus. He's thinking like someone who's waiting on the Lord's return. Because in his mind, if they're one of the few isolated, remote, uncontacted peoples left on the earth, it's really one of the last places where the gospel has not went forth yet. And we're to preach the gospel to the ends of the earth. And there's an indication when that happens, that's close to when the Lord returns. This is how he thinks. I love the way this guy thinks. And another, listen to what he says. So this is John writing in his diary. Listen to this. What makes them become this defensive and hostile? So he's pondering this question. And listen to what he says. It's weird. Actually, no, it's natural. I'm scared. There I said it. Also frustrated and uncertain. Is it worth me going afoot to meet them? He is wondering out loud in his journal, is it worth it to do this? And then here's what he adds. I don't want to die! Exclamation point. And then he went back, and they say in the journal, and you can see the pictures online, the handwriting gets sloppier, the lines are more crooked, and here's one of the last things he wrote. Listen to this. This is the heart of Jesus. Quote, please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed, he wrote. I love you all, end quote. John Chau. You see that? You see that? Listen to this, something else he wrote in his journal. I don't want to die, all caps. Listen to this. He asked this question in his journal. Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else to continue? No, I don't think so. See, he's thinking these people must be reached with the gospel. And he asks himself, maybe I should leave. I'm probably going to get killed. They don't want me. It's going to take a miracle. What's going to happen? And he thinks, I should leave, and maybe another missionary could do it. And he says, no, I don't think so. And then you have Lord Jamar and Godfrey, who thinks it's all real funny. Listen to this next clip.
And you know what happened? They hit his Bible with the arrow.
Nice.
They hit his Bible. I go, that's a warning shot.
Vlad says, nice. That's the interviewer. He's off camera. Nice. What's nice about that, Vlad?
And it wasn't a bulletproof Bible.
No, hell no. He said, shoot it.
Wasn't
I would have been like,
arrow-proof.
I'm like, all right, I'm out. That was a warning shot.
That's because, Godfrey, and I could be frank, the reason you would leave the second that happened is you don't have anything in your life worth dying for. That's why. What would you do? Would you go to the island to do one of your comedy sets? That wouldn't be worth it. Yet that's your whole personal identity. What in your life is worth dying for that you would be willing to sacrifice your own life for the good of someone else? Nothing. You know what? If there's nothing worth dying for in your life, that means there's really nothing worth living for in your life, if I could be frank.
Sugar! That's how fucking cold these dudes are.
It was a child. He's all amped up because they got his waterproof Bible, but it was a child who shot the arrow.
Oh, but he probably could have been holding the Bible. That shit went right through the Bible into
But
his
at least
fucking
with
heart.
a bow and arrow, you can at least, whatever people...
Now it's going to get bad. If you thought everything was bad so far, it's going to get a whole lot worse. Grab this link and share it. I want people to see this. Are you guys ready? Grab this link, share it, hit the like button. It's going to get a whole lot worse. This needs to be seen. And here's why. Christians need to understand we are not in the 1950s. The world's not going to give us a pass anymore in the West. They're not just apathetic, they're hostile. And we can't whine about it. What we need to do is build our own platforms and offer critical commentary when they make commentary. It needs to be searing, it needs to be humorous, it needs to be all these things. That's what we need to do. Not just curse the darkness. And I'm a tiny little part of that. Very small. But that's what we need to do, right? Because we're in a different era. I already realized that. This is not a wine fest for me. This is me clapping back.
Oh, these were poison tip arrows.
But you can at least,
these
you can at
were
least
poison
talk.
arrows.
Well, I mean, but they don't know. They haven't gotten the body.
But it's
Well,
not like...
they say they were poison arrows, and then they said they arrowed him up, and then they put a vine around his neck and dragged him
But at
around
least
the
with a
beach.
bow and arrow, when you...
Why is that funny, Lord Jamar? The fishermen witnessed this. After they killed him, they put a vine around his neck and dragged him around the island. Again, does this show a group of people who are like so innocent? Because there's all these comments I've been seeing about this people group, like they're living so pure and fantastic. Let me just be straight up. North Sentinel is not Wakanda. This is not a great place. This is not somewhere you'd want to live. This is a place where if you get an injury, you could die from a simple cut if it gets infected. This is a place where people don't live above a certain age based upon observation because we don't find any older people when there's been observations made. Let me continue on with this.
First get shot, you can think about it. You're like, cool.
death.
What the fuck's going on?
You know, dragging him around the island. Is that funny? I don't understand. So here's the part I was telling you about. This is the worst part. Everyone brace yourself, okay? Are you bracing yourself? Are you sitting down? This is highly offensive to say the least, but this is what we've got to deal with. And you know what? Before I play this part, hold up. I need to read a passage to get us ready for this, okay? I'm going to go here to 1 Corinthians 13. By the way, you guys know what Matthew 24:12 says. Before I read this, Matthew 24:12 says that in the last days, the love of many will wax cold. I think that's what we're seeing here. The love of many will wax cold. But let me read here, 1 Corinthians 13, the true definition of love. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing. I'm going to go back to that, but rejoices with the truth. Love does not rejoice with wrongdoing. Love does not rejoice at evil or wickedness. Lord Jamar and Godfrey, you need to repent because in this video, you are rejoicing at wrong. That's exactly what's happening. And now watch this clip with that in mind.
What?
Because
fuck Jesus loves you.
You know what's funny?
Wait a minute, guys. I have a frisbee. I just wanted to kumbaya, my Lord. Wait a minute. Kumbaya. Oh, hold on. In the name of the of the Son and the Holy.
That's what.
Wait. Mom. I texted.
Let's watch that highlight again. No one in the studio was bothered by this behavior. Everyone thought this was cool. Shout out to you, Roxby. I see you in the super chat. I'll play this one more time and just try to get your head inside the mentality it takes to find this funny. Remember in Romans, it speaks about people who do wickedness and evil, and it says they applaud. Not only do they do these acts themselves, but they applaud those who do them as well. They applaud others who do wickedness. Essentially, that's what these guys are doing. It's a fulfillment of Romans 1 and 2, where they applaud wickedness and evil.
What?
Because
fuck Jesus loves you.
You know what's funny?
Wait a minute, guys. I have a frisbee. I just wanted to.
I have a frisbee. By the way, John did have gifts for them, and some of the things he gave them, to my understanding, was food, not just a frisbee.
My Lord. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. In the name of the of the Son and the Holy.
That's what.
Wait. Mom. I texted.
All right. You know what? Let me actually tell you the title of this video, the clips that I'm playing it from. It's Lord Jamar and Godfrey laugh at Christian missionary killed by island natives, part 2. You hear that? That is actually what they decided to title this video. Lord Jamar and Godfrey laugh at Christian missionary killed by island natives, part 2. It has 95,000 views, and it came out December 5th. That was yesterday. It has 2.9 thousand likes, almost 3,000 likes, 2,900 likes. Only 285 dislikes. Vlad has 2.7 million subscribers. That's why I'm doing this video. This is the realm of urban apologetics. Let me play the next one here.
And you know what's even more funny to me?
Hey, you know what's even more funny? Lord Jamar says, you know, that whole bit you did right there was really funny. But you know what's even more funny? I can't wait to hear it, Lord Jamar. What's funnier than that awesome bit by Godfrey? Godfrey, you're going to include that into your stand-up routine now? Seriously. Anything for a laugh?
Is the niggas that brought him there, right? They didn't leave. They witnessed all of this shit. Because he had to take a canoe from their boat.
Hold on, K-Dub, you're saying this video has 106,000 watches, views now? That means in the time I did this earlier in the day, because I still have the same screen up, 10,000 people have watched it or so. That's what that means. That's insane. Okay, continuing on.
Because these niggas said, all right, we're going to get
You're already done.
arrows, and we're going to get as far as an arrow can't reach. And that's where we're going to drop you off at.
He was like,
so,
You have to swim the rest of the way.
yeah, so you know. But no, he had a canoe. So he canoed it from there.
Right.
But them niggas didn't say, all right, we out of here. Them niggas said, let's see
this
this
shit.
Because I know what's going to happen. And them niggas probably had popcorn.
And he was
all.
counting his money like this.
Uh-huh.
I told the motherfucker he didn't listen.
Pass me them Cracker Jacks.
I told his ass. Didn't I tell him? Motherfucker want to play games and shit.
Yeah, you told him.
Wait a minute. You told me I'd be okay.
They be like, oh, that ain't good. Oh, look what they doing to him.
And you hear
that
this
ain't
thing.
good.
Shut. Remember Apocalypto? Shut up.
I think that's called beating a dead horse. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 2. I'm going to read the end of this here. Listen to what this says. Starting in verse 13. And we impart this in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit. The reason why that's advantageous because human wisdom fails. The Spirit is a spirit of truth. All right? Continuing on. Interpreting spiritual truth to those who are spiritual. It's not about who's better or anything, but clearly these are not spiritual men. Verse 14. The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him. So guys, don't be mad. This is just proving the Bible is true. If you're in Adam and you're not in Christ, things that are actually of God appear foolish to you. That's what's happening. Continuing on here, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. And he is not able to understand them. Not just that he won't, but he's not even able. Because of the noetic effects of sin, because of the total depravity, because of the radical corruption of sin upon our nature, we can't even understand them because they are spiritually discerned. These men do not have spiritual discernment. The spiritual person judges all things, but is himself to be judged by no one. For who has understood the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. Don't have time to interpret those last two there, but I just wanted to complete the verse there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Not only did Lord Jamar bring this up, because if you watch the full Vlad interview, he was the one who decided to bring it up, right? It wasn't like they were already talking about it. He specifically brought it up, right? And you can watch the video and how he's just raring to go. Now, in this next one, let me see here. I'm trying to find it real quick. So his deal is the Godcast. And so on the Godcast, one day ago, he went live, and he's got 15,000 views on the 25-minute video where he talks about John Chau. And here's how he titled it. Case Study When White Privilege Goes Wrong. Hey, what's up, Ricky Lee? Ricky Lee, shout out to you. I see you in the super chat. So I'm not going to play this, but when he was on the Godcast, so-called, guess what he had to do? Talk about John Allen Chau again. So I'm going to play the video where he's on his own show now talking about. Listen to what Lord Jamar says. No Godfrey this time.
That we were going to talk about when white privilege goes wrong. So.
Sound effects are theirs. Just ask yourself, what does that have to do with white privilege? I read from his journal. I could read more. We can see his heart. He is totally just miscategorizing things. Lord Jamar, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're just mischaracterizing things. That's all you're doing. It's not a sign of careful intellect or study to just throw things into your little buckets and categories because they're helpful for you in your mind. That's not the way to do it. Let me move myself down here. All right, we'll continue playing this clip.
Out in an island off the coast of India called the Sentinel Islands, yes. Some thrill-seeking...
Thrill-seeking. Is that why he was there? He thought it was going to be a big thrill? Certainly he was an adventurer, but God uses those kinds of people. He wasn't there to seek thrills.
Missionary-ass motherfucker named John.
What even is that? Is that even good cursing? Some missionary... You're just trying too hard at this point, man.
Alan Chau decided he was going to go to a remote island where a tribe...
He didn't just decide he was going to go. He wanted to do this since he was a young man, since he was a teenager.
Of original people who've been there for thousands of years.
We don't know how long they've been there exactly, but they migrated, from what it seems, probably actually from Africa. It appears somewhere from Africa a long time ago. And so there's some truth to that. But, this idea of original people, that's his 5% stuff coming through. His nations of gods and earth philosophy and theology coming through. That's what he's talking about there. He doesn't mean it in the same way that people might say indigenous people, although there's some overlap. He has a little bit of a different nuance there.
Thousands and thousands of years.
Okay. Where it's illegal to go to fuck with these people, he decided...
You hear this?
No. I'm going to go there and preach the gospel of Jesus in my soul. Because why? Because he knows better. because he thought in his mind that these people were probably savages.
Again, where are you getting that from? Just because you're a bigot, Lord Jamar, doesn't mean everybody else is. And, I mean, you hear him with the, just the outright mocking of all this. I mean, I'm gonna read some more from his journal after this because I think it calls for it.
Uncivilized.
Says who?
Who, whatever spiritual system they might have been dealing with for thousands of years was inadequate, and that he needed to deliver them the favor of Christianity.
I think Christianity would do them well. First of all, they would learn that all people are made in the image of God, something you don't believe, Lord Jamar. But because of that, they should value life. It would teach them that there's one true God who demands our worship and is a holy God and who's going to judge them one day. It would teach them that nature and creation are good things, not things to be feared, and that we can be caretakers of these things instead of being afraid of them and thinking maybe they're endowed by spirits because there's a lot of animism in a lot of these types of folk religions. Do you know what John Allen Chau said when he got to the island on November 17th? He said, "My name is John, and I love you, and Jesus loves you." That's what he said. And in one of his final journal entries, you know what he said to his family? "You guys might think I'm crazy in all this." This is a quote. "But I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people." He knew people might look at him foolish, like I read in 1 Corinthians. If I read the rest of it, you'd see that it's something that the Jews and the Gentiles, even of Paul's day, thought was foolish. But God chose to do it this way. John knew this, and yet he says it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people. He loved them. That's the first thing he said to them. The very first thing he said was, "I love you and Jesus loves you." And now he goes back to his journal entry. Look what he says here. "The islanders saw that and blocked my exit." This is the first time he met some people on the island, the first time he went there. "One blocked unarmed, while another armed with a knife." Then he said he started preaching to them a bit, starting in Genesis. They got a little bit of a sermon. "One of the tribe members shot me with an arrow directly into my Bible, which I was holding in front of my chest. And then the arrow broke off on page 453 of the book of Isaiah." So I don't know what page 453 would be in a waterproof version of the Bible we had, but it's interesting. It'd be interesting to see what's on page 453 there. And listen to this. Listen to what he says, everyone. This is from his journal. "This is not a pointless thing. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand." This is not a pointless thing, I repeat. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand. Hear that? And again, one of the last things he said to everybody was, "I love you all, and I pray none of you love anything in this world more than Jesus Christ." Even when he's probably knows he's going to die, he's encouraging other people to love the Lord. And it's kind of funny in a way what he wrote in his notes at another point. He wrote, "Why did a little kid have to shoot me today?" He wrote in his notes. Why did a little kid have to shoot me? There's this one other thing I want to read here. I don't know how to pronounce this, but part of what he did is he sang some worship songs. The reason I mention that is because, Lord Jamar was making fun of that. He did sing some worship songs to them as well. And he even yelled in a language called Xhosa, Xhosa. It's a language he knew somewhat from when he coached soccer in South Africa. And he would try English, and he tried this other language as well. And listen to what he said before he went across the last time. "The Milky Way was above, and God himself was shielding us from the Coast Guard and Navy patrols," he wrote. And he said after he would speak this language to them, they would, quote, "often fall silent after this." And he says other times when he tried to communicate to them, the tribe members ended the communication by bursting out into laughter. So they had some discussions. Well, not discussion. There was some communication before he went back this final time. By the way, I see you there, Maylita. Much love to you. She says, "I am Latina, and this hate towards us Christians is disgusting." What's up, Maylita? Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. So, I mean, they were laughing there. And there's a video online you can see where some folks from the Indian government brought these folks some coconuts because coconuts don't grow on this island, but yet they're a valued commodity. They brought them coconuts, and at the end of this video, I watched it today. The tribes people they're naked. They have little things on their heads and chest and neck, but they're naked. When they're done and the boats are pulling away after they had given all the coconuts, one of the guys grabs his stuff. He grabs his junk and like flips it up towards the camera to the people, the Indians who had come just to help them, and they were driving away. They'd given away all the coconuts, and one of the guys, one of the people from the island, grabs his junk and lifts it up towards the camera. I mean, this is what sin does. These are not innocent, pristine humans because there's no such thing. They're sinners and they need Jesus Christ, like all of us outside of Christ. After the boy shot the arrow, here's what he said. I grabbed the arrow shaft as it broke in my Bible and felt the arrowhead. It was metal, thin, but very sharp. And that is what killed him, which these guys think is funny. So let me play the next clip here from his Godcast. And this is interesting.
So what did he do? Well, for one, he broke the goddamn law. Law says you can't even go over there.
Right.
But he bribed some motherfucking fishermen to, first of all, tell him where the shit it is. And they took him, like, pretty close to the motherfucker.
Despite multiple warnings.
Now they said, nigga, are you sure you want to go? Let me just tell you, they will kill you on sight. Yes, I've heard this, but guess what?
He said, I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. I'm going.
Thank you.
So everything's funny. Everything's funny. Watch this. This part's funny too. Shout out to you, Michelle Marie, in the super chat. You ask, did these people understand him? How did he think they would hear the gospel if they didn't understand him? Well, a few things about that. If you study the history of missions, you'll find there's a lot of times where pioneer missionaries would go into a place where no one knew the language because they were an uncontacted people. And a lot of times missionaries are even the people who helped a lot of these groups develop their alphabet because of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's not an abnormal thing if you're doing a pioneer work. I'm putting your question on the screen there, Michelle, where no one knows the language because it seems no one really knows their language. And so we've got to start somewhere is what I'm saying by that. So he did language training, but what's their language, right? So the pioneering work takes that, and over time, the language can be learned. And missionaries have done this. This is something that's happened in the history of missions. There's that. But also, don't forget, everybody, the possibility of the supernatural. Now, God didn't see fit to do it this way this time, but I'm just saying, remember in the book of Acts, people were able to hear languages, tongues in their own language, and the speakers were speaking about God, but to them in languages they had never learned. Meaning God has control and power over this. He confused the languages of Babel, and he sort of reversed that in a microcosm way in Acts chapter 2. Now, that didn't happen. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Remember what they said? They said, hey, God might not take us out of the fire because Nebuchadnezzar is going to throw them in the fire for not bowing down to the idol. He can, but even if he doesn't, we won't bow down. Remember that? I think that was John's attitude. Even though he was scared, he was a normal human. And it was that, I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, good. Let me continue.
I'm going.
I'm covered in the blood of Jesus.
John is covered in the blood of Jesus, and I can't wait to see him in heaven.
I'm going. I don't really know hymns. I'm just thinking this is how they kind of would sound. So anyway,
official to me.
You know what that was? I'm going to tell you what that was. That was, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
So, well, I'm.
Well, in his case, it would be.
Well, I'm not. In my case, I'm not gospel. I grew up in the Jehovah's Witness shit, so they got real white sounding songs, and I totally like I forget those songs.
So I played that part to show you Jamar's background. He was raised Jehovah's Witness. Now he's in the nations of gods and earth. But here he reenacts the whole Godfrey bit. Here, check this out.
Apparently, soon as he get on the beach, he started singing. Because they don't speak English or nothing. So I guess he thought he was going to speak the universal language of music.
With the snake charmer shit.
I wonder what he sung. You think it was Amazing Grace?
Amazing Grace. How sweet the.
You guys catch that? You see the special effects with the arrows? That is kind of cool. I want to find out what program they use, actually. But apparently this is part of the funniness. Watch this. Watch closely.
How sweet the. Sound. Hey! Hey! Yo!
All right. This is what passes for entertainment on his show. Now listen to this as they talk about how he got dragged, and everything's just really funny.
He was singing one of them motherfuckers that got do.
Arrows.
Then after they his ass, I heard they put some vine around his neck and dragged him around the beach by his neck until death.
That's deep.
So if
How is that deep? His co-host is bizarre. Like, that's deep. Oh, I don't even really understand. How, no, that's just violent. How's that deep?
arrows didn't kill him,
The dragon, the asphyxiation.
Now
he got dragged.
Oh boy. Now again, the bigotry and prejudice of Lord Jamar is going to come out as he proceeds to, it seems, kind of mock Asians as well. Check this out.
So what we had is a true to life case of white privilege going wrong. But
It's not about white privilege. You gotta, if you're gonna say that, you need to justify that statement. But I don't think you're into that.
it's only a white man that believes that he can just run up in somebody's house.
You know what? Let me stop there. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to this clip. Only a white man believes. You know what? It's time for me to ask the backpack if that's true, actually. Yo, backpack, you got any books that would prove Lord Jamar wrong about what he just said? Can you help us out here?
Backpack, magic backpack. I'm the negative Mac attack backpack. With this sack reacts, I'm like a maniac. I got stacks of facts to keep y'all on track.
Well, thank you very much, magic backpack. Let's see what you got here. Oops, wrong. Gotta switch over. What books have been provided here? Profiles. Profiles of who? Profiles of African American missionaries. William Carey Library. A book only detailing black missionaries. This book could be a lot bigger. This is just the well-known folks. Only a white man. No. Christians fulfilling the Great Commission. That's who would do it. You know what? While we're at it, I got some other good books for you. This is a great book on missions as well. I highly recommend. It's probably the best book on missions out there. Let the Nations Be Glad. The Supremacy of God in Missions by John Piper. This book will want you to go on a missions trip, boy. You read this. This is amazing. This is the rationale for why John Chau went, is the theology of a book like this. Now, Only a White Man, Africa and Africans in the New Testament by David Tuesday Adamo. He's a Nigerian professor, a PhD. He's written a number of books. This is on University Press of America, where he goes through and shows in the New Testament, Africa and Africans. Christianity has been on the continent, especially in the north, since almost day one. From the Ethiopian in the book of Acts to Tertullian and Athanasius and Origen and Augustine and the North African Church, and where Mark went, and Alexandria and Carthage and Hippo. The list goes on and on. Sudan was basically a Christian nation, of course, Nubia, sometimes it's called, until, of course, the Muslims came in. Last book I want to recommend to show you that some of the issues Lord Jamar is bringing up have been dealt with or discussed by black Christians. My favorite one's by Tom Skinner, How Black is the Gospel, old school, but it shows that Christians have been thinking about some of these questions for a long time. He's a former Harlem gangster who got saved and then wanted to deal with contextual issues. Great book. So, Lord Jamar, you're wrong. Now, let me play this clip again so you can hear the bigotry come out.
So what we had is a true to life case of white privilege going wrong. Because it's only a white man that believes that he can just run up in somebody's house that they don't belong in.
But listen, he wasn't white though. Just for clarity, he wasn't white.
Well, I think he was half white or.
Well, listen. I mean, look. As far
So that guy's trying to be careful a little bit more than Jamar, but listen to what he says. Listen to what this guy's about to say. Everyone listen carefully to what he says. The reason why is because a lot of people feel this way, even though it's inaccurate. But listen.
White or
well, listen. I mean, look. As far as I'm concerned, when you adopt that,
John Allen, Chau. Now, yeah, he was a
Lord Jamar, let him talk. You're being a bad host right now.
little Asian.
he was default white because he was a Christian. When you're Christian, you're adopting a white ideology.
Whoa! He was white by default because he was a Christian. When you're a Christian, you're adopting a white ideology. The ancient Israelites in the desert, white people, the Ten Commandments didn't have it right. Charlton Heston's probably not how those guys looked. That's not white. The whole Old Testament, 39 books, that's not white. I mean, it's just God's truth. But I'm saying if you want to get down to the ethnicity of the people and the background, it ain't a white or European thing. Go over to the New Testament, written all by Israelites, with the exception of probably Luke, a Gentile. Highly unlikely any of those folks were white. The letters, some of them went to places in Europe, such as the letter to the Romans. Others didn't, such as Revelation, which went to 5 churches, basically in modern-day Turkey. Acts shows the church all over. But nonetheless, a lot of people feel this way, but it's just simply not true. Adam Coleman's a great apologist. He does a thing called True ID, and he really puts the lie, meaning he proves false, that type of assertion. And we got to deal with it. I need to do some more stuff on this about, is Christianity the white man's religion type stuff. By the way, somebody just came in. Linda Clark, hello everyone in the super chat. I see you. You guys are being real awesome. I know I got to get through this material though. So I haven't been looking at the live chat a lot, but I do see the super chatters and I got love for you guys. And I see you too, Nicole. Thank you. These are good books. You are right.
He wasn't.
Well, I think he was half white or.
Well, listen. I mean, look. As far as I'm concerned, when you adopt that,
John Allen, Chau. Now, yeah, he was a little Asian. He
was default Asian white because he was a Christian. When you're Christian, you're adopting a white ideology. As far as I'm concerned, I'm
right. So he looked white, but yes, he was Asian, but he wasn't like.
He was honorary white.
He spoke English.
He just said he was honorary white. What? Would it be? You guys just play around with the facts. Now, Lord Jamar is about to say one of the most ignorant things he said in all the clips I played, and that's saying a lot. Listen to this.
He wasn't over there speaking Japanese or any sort of Asian.
To them, they just saw.
What does that have to do with anything? Lord Jamar, do you speak the language of the ancient Kemets? You know, looks like you got the eye on your hat. Do you speak the ancient hieroglyphs? Can you read those? And what does that have to do with anything? He wasn't speaking Japanese, so he's white because he was speaking English. By the way, he did speak a South African language when he was over there, it seems as well. Anyways.
They saw white skin, right. They were
white skin. I'm going to show a picture of John Chau in a second, and you tell me if it's white-skinned. After this clip, I'm going to show a picture of John, okay?
To really get close. First of all, they didn't get close enough to see those little slanted eyes.
That's deep.
Right.
What? First of all, what's wrong with this co-host? Lord Jamar says they didn't get close enough to see those little slanted eyes. That sounds like the mouth of a bigot talking. And the co-host says, that's deep. What is deep about that? I don't understand what is happening in this show.
Didn't get close enough to see those little slanted eyes.
That's deep.
Right.
They was upon seeing that fucking white skin and that black ass hair all fucking day.
Oh my goodness, this guy for real. All right, let me show you a picture here of. All right. White guy, he looks like what he is. Half Asian, half white. You can almost guess it. If you had to guess his ethnicity, you could probably guess it. This is silly. I'm even have to show these pictures in this conversation. But Lord Jamar, he doesn't have concepts of sin and grace. He has concepts of black and white race. That's how he sees everything. He doesn't see everything the right way. You know what I'm saying? He sees things through the eyes of Jim Crow, basically. That's how the slave masters thought too. All right, I think this is one of the last clips.
So what we had is...
Hold on, let me find it. Oh! Okay. All right, this is it. Guys, I hope that this has been beneficial as I've tried to interact with this. I hope that it's been beneficial. I'm going to read one more verse, and after I read this, I'm going to play a little clip of John Allen preaching. It was at something called Fine Arts. Now, if you're familiar with the Assemblies of God at all, they do a thing every year for younger folks where you kind of come and you go and you try to excel in different skill sets, dancing or music or rapping. And John did a presentation at the Fine Arts 2010, I believe. So he was a younger man here about the Great Commission. And I'm only going to play a clip of it, but you see his heart in it. But before I do that, I want to read something from 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 4. Oops, I need to get to it first. I think this helps put everything in perspective. I like Scripture to kind of be our guide as we think about the things we've witnessed and seen today in these clips. And then I'm going to look at the live chat and see what you guys got going on there. But understand that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, Paul writes to Timothy and to us. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, excuse me, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. I read that because Lord Jamar's whole religion, the nation of the gods and the earths, does that. Has the appearance of godliness, but it denies its power. And just because of this video, Lord Jamar, you've encouraged me to make some new apologetic resources going after the nations of the gods and the earth. It's misled folks for too long, especially in the penal system, but also in the lunch yards, or the schoolyards and the lunch tables. And someone needs to go after it. And you've kind of inspired me. I'm going to go after it a little bit. It's a false religion. You believe it. I'm going to play in the future some places where you're trying to explain it and just show everyone how vacuous of a belief system it is. Instead of standing on the sand like the foolish man, you need to stand on the rock, man. Now with that, let me play this inspirational clip of John Allen himself when he's giving a little sermon. You guys ready? Here it is. No, that was not it. Okay, excuse me just a minute. I gotta line it up here. Let me get to it. All right, here it is.
In John 14:15, Jesus tells us, "If you love me, you will obey what I command." And one of the commands that he gave us was in Matthew 28:19 through 20, when he says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you." If we call ourselves Christians, we need to live.
Somebody kick out Robbie Stones. That's not a timeout comment. That's a comment. When you make a comment like that, Robbie Stones, you're gone. Just kick him out, remove his comment, and he's gone. I'm going to start that over in the beginning, but when I see that level of abuse in the live chat, you're gone. You know, a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of name calling, timeout maybe, but when you say something like what you said, you're gone. Please remove him, mods. Robbie Stones, he's out. I'm going to play this clip again. This is John Allen Chau preaching, I think, about 8 years ago when he was a freshman in college at the fine arts there that the Assemblies of God do.
In John 14:15, Jesus tells us, "If you love me, you will obey what I command." And one of the commands that he gave us was in Matthew 28:19 through 20, when he says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you." If we call ourselves Christians, we need to live our lives for Him. We need to obey His commands. By our deeds and actions, people will know that we're Christians. Matthew 5:16 tells us, "In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." We either change or we don't believe.
This guy's an inspiration. Very unassuming. He seems really nervous, actually, to speak, if you notice. You know, he's not like some eloquent wordsmith up there. This is John Allen Chau. This is the missionary who was slain. They've been making fun of the whole time. That's who the clip was from. So you see what drove him? He quotes Matthew 28 right there. And notice how he talks about a Christianity that leads to action. He talks about Jesus saying, "If you love me, you obey my commands." You can hear his heart right there. That's why he did what he did. When I end the show, I'm going to probably end with that clip, play it one more time. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, now, I've got a little bit of time to look through the comments to see what you guys want to do. I don't know if we got to 50 in the super chat, but since we did get over 100 viewers, I'm going to do a freestyle. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a freestyle. Now, if Lord Jamar watches this, he might hate on my freestyle. He is an accomplished rapper, and I give him respect on that tip. But boy, his morality is messed up. Godfrey too. And I hope Vlad doesn't pull one of his moves where he tries to get this video taken down like he did to others who have interacted with his counter anti-Christian material. So let's get this this beat up here in a second. Great comments though. I like your comments. Let's see what you got. Roxby says we need 2 more, but you know what? Since we got over 100, I'm gonna do it. Let me find the beat here. Da, 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 da. What beat do we want today? Let me try this one right here. Let's try this one. I know it's a little loud. I'm going to turn it down. Just give me a second here. I know it's a little loud, guys. I know. Alright, guys. Tell me what you think of this beat. Alright. Uh-oh, Lily R putting it down. Can you guys hear my voice? It's time to do it. Yo. Don't be mad at me because I'm critiquing Vlad TV. He made me mad. He make me glad. Hey, yo, Vlad, you probably really sad. You got that money. You got that pad, but you don't know God, you don't know my dad. He's my father, not Allah. That's what Lord Jamar says, but nah, the dude is wrong. He put it in a song. His whole religion, it gets the gong. It ain't right. It discusses white and black, but that's not facts. Supreme mathematics, it's just a bunch of tricks. Linguistics, rhetoric, that's all you got, but you ain't know. Lord Jamar, why is your show called The Godcast? I will rap, well I will do this, and I will dash. When I'm done, you need to meet the Son. He's Jesus the Christ, he's the only one. So listen, Jamar, need to meet the real Lord. You better check yourself when you record. Making fun of those who are martyr. John Allen, he's a fire starter. He's a sparker. He brought the fire. You done slandered him like a liar. Excuse my voice, it's kinda sore, but I ain't appreciate how you did declared war upon my man. Speaking of the arrow, the fact is your vision is narrow. Yeah, they killed him, bone and arrow into his marrow, but the fact is he's on the narrow path. I ask, now you and Godfrey thought it was funny to laugh? Listen, homeboy, you need to take a bath in the blood you mentioned. Let's bring in another beat so we can have an extension. All right, I gotta do one more, man. Let's see here. Yeah. Let me see. My voice, man. Let me get one more beat. One more beat here. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. How about the sound, guys? Was it good? Because I gotta turn this up just a tad. Okay, I turned up the beat. AD new. I see a comment, so I greet you with the. Hold on. You know what? What about there? What about that level? Kind of like a mic check. Is that good about there? It's hard to get it right, man. Oh man. All right, start over again, guys. Start over. All right, here we go. Okay, like a jet we throttle. What's up to the dude called Aristotle? Yes, y'all, I got the plan. What's up to Misty Radical called Miranda? And plus Dan Mendez, I come off the head like I was Pez. You know I'm not the man like Stan. What's up, I see you, Gregorian. Okay, now I rock it like a lunar. Plus I get props to the one named Luna. Oh shoot, I'm coming through. Mic check 1 2. Rocks B and the whole crew. The warrior, she's out on tour in Australia. Here we go, turn the beat up a bit. I'll bring it in, you know it's a hit. Okay, I do this, it's true again. I ain't trying to diss Brand Nubian. They not my friends unless they Christian, but I got love. Maybe you can be born again. Lord knows you need it. Why you rap about being a god while you eat it? You exceeded the sin level. Ayo, the devil got your eyesight all blind. That's why you got a darkened mind. Read Romans 1 and 2. I need some tea. Yes, that is true. I see your name, 2020, dude. Hello, how you doing, Nick Lou S? I come with the fresh style. You know, the one you ain't heard in a while. Make a joke, so I will smile at the thought of John in heaven. Peep this out, the bread was 11. Vocab Malone, my name ain't 7, but that dude can spit. In Northern Cali, I live in Phoenix, I live in the valley. Yes, I rally like the grand finale. Here we come again, you know I'm a scallion. I'm a scoundrel. Jesus the Christ, he saved us full. My cup was full, now it's empty. Satan, he always likes to tempt me. I cannot do any more. Ooh. Alright guys, check this out. We have now hit 10,000 subs. We've celebrated a little bit by dropping a brand new intro. Now, what's going to be going on? I'm going to try to go live sometime soon to do a freestyle roast party, but I can't do it till my voice gets better. In that party, you guys will be able to roast me in the live chat and give me topics to freestyle to. And I'm going to show old pictures of myself. So if you guys don't have material to roast me with, I'll show old pictures of myself so you guys can roast the old pictures. And I'm going to try to have a couple friends over as well when I do it. So we'll have a little party, probably be eating pizza, you know what I'm saying? And just be having fun with it. I got to wait, though, till my voice gets better, obviously. So just pray for me and see what happens with that. Now, I am going to still go live and do the First John Bible study. I just had to get to this because it bothered my spirit so much. I felt like Paul in the city of Athens. You guys remember when Paul went ahead of the others, and it says he was in Athens by himself, and he wasn't planning on doing anything. He was just basically there to be safe at that point. And it says that his spirit was troubled because he looked around and saw all the idols. The idolatry vexed him. And so he ended up talking to people in the market. Remember that in Acts chapter 17? And he spoke to them about the gospel, and they brought him before the Areopagus, and he spoke there at Mars Hill. I felt like a little bit like that. I wasn't planning on doing this. I saw it, and I just felt like I had to react to it. You know what I'm saying? It was troubled, so that's what I did. Now, some of you guys say you don't want to roast me. Just get some jokes ready. They could go grab some like little kid jokes books, like those old silly jokes. Like you guys can totally use dad jokes against me. You can use like corny 4th and 5th grade jokes. You know what I'm saying? So just grab some funny old jokes from back in the day. You guys can use Italian jokes against me, mustache jokes, everything, right? And I'll try to get David Wood on. I see you guys. I'll try to get him on. So I'm still working on that. It's going to take a while, but that's going to be part of our 10,000 party. Also, I'm going to be playing this new intro from now on, and there's a couple other fun things going on that are under wraps, but we'll see what turns out. So in the meantime, I need to go because I really can't talk anymore. You guys did amazing. It's dope to have you, and I'm seeing your comments, which I really appreciate. But I wish you the best, and guess what? They're doing early showings of Bumblebee. So part of what I'm going to do this weekend is go see Bumblebee like a week early, 2 weeks early. With my kids, we're going to go see Bumblebee because it looks way better than the Bay movie, so I'm very, very excited. Maybe I'll even do an impromptu review or something like that. We'll see. Pray that this video doesn't get trying to take down by Vlad TV because, like I said, he's good for that. And just pray that we can develop our own platform so we don't have to rely on the haters. All right. I think that's about it. All right, I'm going to play this John Allen Chau clip one last time and end the show with that. Okay? And I think you guys will appreciate that, and the show will end as he's preaching. God bless. Shalom. Thanks for the 10,000. Backpack Radio Live vocab is out.
In John 14:15, Jesus tells us, if you love me, you will obey what I command. And one of the commands that he gave us was in Matthew 28:19 through 20, when he says, therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. If we call ourselves Christians, we need to live our lives for Him. We need to obey His commands. By our deeds and actions, people will know that we're Christians. Matthew 5:16 tells us, in the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your